Hi guys, Martin from Belief. In the last couple of days, I've made some information known on our forum and some others that have criticised some of the actions of some of the marketing, so-called professionals in the industry. And those that know me know that some of my opinions are very firm. I'm very black and white and exercise a form of radical candor. I won't beat around the bush when I talk about things. And one of the biases that impacts a lot of the marketing, again, so-called professionals in our industry, is Dunning-Kruger, where a subjective opinion of oneself outweighs any objective reality. And I won't be shy in calling out that style of common, very ubiquitous BS. So I'm going to try and make videos every day where I offer competing information and provide an alternate point of view. And the point of view that is based in reality and fact. So that opinion that is research and well-grounded. Now, first, I'm recording this in the very boring environment of my office today, very intentionally, because tomorrow I just want to show you something, and this video will be a comparison. All right, so let's talk about positioning in the market. All right, when a broker positions in the market, what is positioning? It's simply making yourself known as a specialist in a certain area. Now, I'm going to talk in very general terms. Anybody that's dealt with me on any kind of positioning program will understand that I'm barely going to scratch the scratch. But in essence, it's positioning yourself in the market to appeal to a specific niche or market segment. Now, positioning is very different to targeting, right? Targeting is something we do every day. I've got clients that will run ads and target virtually every industry in the country. They'll run 170 ads at a time sometimes, or 50 or 60 ads, and they'll target specific segments of the community, because those that are engaged with that are more likely to be drawn towards the messaging and so on. And generally the advertising is more successful than a catch-all generic approach. However, when you position in the market, it is very, very different. When you position, you are becoming something. You are positioning yourself as an expert in that field. And if your claims don't marry up with the objective reality, you'll just be seen as fraud. Now, every broker in the industry wants to position themselves as an expert in the medical industry or the legal industry, just because the ease of which those deals are written. Now, those that position in the medical industry, and we recorded this the other day for the purpose of a video, another more formal video, and we asked them what the difference was between a podiatrist and a podometrist, and no one could answer that question. They position themselves in the medical industry. Guys, if you're going to position in the medical industry, you better have a bloody good understanding of the different types of hospital environments, what doctors typically make, the different types of career paths, how GPs can leverage self-managed super funds for the purpose of their practice, how they can you want to know the EBAs for nurses. You want to have a really good, comprehensive understanding of fair work legislation as it applies to those professions and so on. It is not good enough just to say I'm an expert in Medico home loans, because the reality is you are not, and you won't become known as an expert unless you have continued, ongoing, demonstrated expertise in that field. Now, when I was, the reason, just to backtrack a little, the reason our police home loans were so effective back in the day, right? More effective than virtually any competing company in this country, is because I was a police officer. We had police home loans. We labelled it as a bunch of different things. In my early 20s, in fact, at the age of 18, I was in the New South Wales Fire Brigade. I later joined the New South Wales Police Force. I studied criminology. I got a Bachelor of Criminology. I worked in intelligence fields, and I understand law enforcement. In fact, adding to that, I worked with the Royal Flying Doctor Service as a pilot, which kind of, in a sense, completes that trifecta of emergency services. So it's a field I understood. So to position myself in that field was very easy because I was already an expert. And that's the reason we consistently wrote 30 mil a month on the back of that. It's because I was well known for that style of product. Now, incidentally, by the way, Richard Garner from Crew Financial does a really good job of positioning himself in that market now. He's a second officer on an Airbus 330 international operations. And he kind of owns that market now. Most of his employees are engaged in the aviation market. Now, when we first positioned in that market, we wrote 330 mil in 4 months, right? And that was on the back of a particular program that I won't go into. But it's at the time, this was in 2015, it set the industry on fire, right? Because nobody knew that that kind of volume could be written at the time. Now, we also positioned, the company I used to own, positioned in the medical industry and did extremely well, but we're also considerably educated, not necessarily myself, but the team was educated in Medico home loans. And to this day, my understanding is they still write a few $100 million a year on the back of the promotion they do within that industry. So again, guys, immerse yourself. If you want to position in a particular industry, and this applies in a more significant way to those that have come to the industry from a professional background, focus on that background first and foremost, right? If you're a teacher, look, to this day, I've got a teacher that writes $140 million a year part-time. She's now got a team. I've got a police officer that writes over $100 million a year, and he's kind of, again, doing what I did years ago, and he's immersed himself in the law enforcement gig, and people know him and trust him and like him. In all cases of positioning, you have to demonstrate those core attributes of expertise, authoritativeness, and in order to gain trust. So known like trust, they're Google's attributes of SEO, but they apply everywhere. Expertise and authoritativeness are the two attributes that underpin everything. So if you're going to position in the market, make sure that you understand that market. Now, how do you position then? Once you've made the decision, you're an expert in a certain field or so on, and you want to position in a certain industry, how do you do that? Now, my opinion, and you'll see this with a few of the high-performing guys in the industry that I know of, and a bunch of our guys do it as well, like 20-plus guys that we deal with do this, is that they will create standalone websites. We put a facility in Yabba where they can they can copy their own website and then make changes to that website with all the SEO, the canonical URLs, obviously pointing back to the original, so you don't lose SEO authority, but certainly the website itself, standalone website itself, presents in such a way that makes you an expert in that field. So you've got that facility again in Yabba just to copy your own website. It's just hosting fees that apply if you do that. There's also Switch, our police.com.au site, which we take down all the time for updates because it's the demo website we use for the website we provide clients. On that front page, you'll see 4 primary buttons. I am a police officer, I am a firefighter, I am military, or I'm in the medical community, and that includes obviously ambulance and so on. A user can click on one of those buttons, and we employ the use of the switch module, which switches out the front page of the website. So each time they come back individually, the front page will look different. The hero image, the top image is a picture of a police officer or a firefighter or whatever else. The lead magnet leans in towards, mortgage reduction for police officers, mortgage reduction for firefighters, all that sort of stuff. So it's very, very specific and tailored, and we clearly stand out in that respect. And the domain of police.com.au contributes towards that. Again, the domain is important, but you don't want to dilute your brand at the same time. So if you're XYZ Finance, you might consider XYZ Medical or something. There are a whole bunch of different ways of doing it, but the point is you have to be a demonstrated expert in that field. And diluting your brand is a potential issue. I'll come back to that. Now, when I said create a standalone website, or at least a self-hosted, obviously self-hosted landing page and so on. You can also set up standalone social channels on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Tumblr, wherever you happen to send your social. You can manage all that social obviously from within, but it does create an expectation for content, and it does make it a little bit difficult because you are now managing multiple social channels, and if you are a small business, that becomes problematic. So all the content you create, and again, Yabba takes care of this, you can just brand them on different templates, but that is often not enough. It's videos like this where you want to make them regularly and send them out to those channels, again for the purpose of demonstrating expertise and authoritativeness. Now, I said there's a problem with potentially diluting your brand, and that is a real problem, right? So I'll tell you a story. There was a case years ago when Toyota were having problems immersing themselves in the luxury market. They had luxury vehicles, but nobody associated that brand with luxury. They're an excellent brand. We all know Toyotas are bulletproof, and they're excellent cars, and they're an amazing company, but nobody wanted to buy their luxury vehicles. There was a price tag attached that just wasn't consistent with the expectation of the Toyota brand. So what did they do? They created a new brand, exactly as I have just discussed. What was it called? Nexus. Now, just to give you an idea, it's almost like the metaphorical middle finger, if you like, to consumers. And not intentional, it wasn't malicious or deliberate, but it just feels like it when you know the backstory, is they rebranded Toyota as Nexus, and Nexus stands for, Lexus, not a car person, Lexus. So LE is luxury exports, that's LEX, luxury exports, and US, United States. So Lexus is luxury exports to the US. So it was just a rebrand. Now they put in a few bells and whistles, threw in an extra, cup holder and a couple of extra speakers. Those cars were essentially Toyota, but rebranded. Now people would pay an extra $30,000 for a Lexus, despite the fact that you could go out and buy a Camry and it'd effectively be the same thing. Now that applies today. Lexus was and is Toyota's luxury brand. So again, guys, look, positioning in the market can yield amazing results. And many of you will be aware of the number of programs that we've got that are protected by our NDA that expose you to different types of techniques that will return results. Not might, but will and do return results. But positioning is not just a matter of saying you're something or doing it deliberately simply because you want to take advantage of a market. That won't work. Again, you have to demonstrate expertise and authoritativeness. And once you do that, you'll earn the trust of those people within a niche. Okay? Now, if you want to talk to me about this, by all means, give me a call. There's probably 20 articles buried in our website. There's thousands of articles on the website. So you can call me on 0400 777 300 or review that content on our website at beliefmedia.com.au. And I'll talk to you about it in more detail and give you an idea of how you can position in the market and those things you might want to do now in order to prepare for that. It's not an overnight decision because you're assuming an identity. It's Clark Kent and Superman, it's Bruce Wayne and Batman, that you're going to assume two diametrically opposed personalities, and your perception will be very different. Remembering that perception will shape reality. Right, so guys, 0400 777 300. I hope I've made some sense, and I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to make a video every single day. Right, just on this, I tell our guys every day, you need to make videos. We have little competitions. Those people that make the most videos in a month, get all sorts of benefits and things. And it's really a case of do as I say, not as I do, because we spend so much time buried behind our computers doing work every day that we tend to forget. But it is very easy for me to sit down here, particularly when I'm in the office, and just record something quickly when I want to share a message of what is something I consider to be quite important. 0400 777 300. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.